Hello, and welcome back to another Dokkan battle video. Now, I haven't made one of these in a while, right? Just because a lot of these have been dropping when I've been busy, and by busy, I mean playing Persona 3 or asleep. So, we finally have another Super EZA after how many goddamn months since the last one? Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks was in, what, April? Right? It's been an incredibly long time since we have, like, had a single Super EZA. Now, Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks was incredibly powerful, and I have already read this guy's details. I know what he does, as you can see. We're getting the transitions from the homie Minto here. Right, so if we just want to compare him directly to the past Super EZA character, where is he at? Tech Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks, right? This guy. He was incredibly powerful, right? Super crazy, super amazing. We love him to death. Very good, right? Right, fantastic. It doesn't say when his Super EZA date actually is, which is kind of funny. But it was in like April or something. But now we have Super EZA BROLY. Now, BROLY is something that was desperately needed. Not his name, but what he does. So his passive, key +2 to attack and defense 200%, which is fine. He gets 150% attack and defense when attacking, which is pretty good, right? He gets 30% attack and defense up to 150% and damage reduction by 10% up to 50% with each super attack performed, which means you're probably going to want to give this guy additional because you're really going to want to have those get procced, right? Now, you can say, oh, well, maybe you can still do dodge because he has something later in his passive that's pretty good, but we'll get to it when we get to it. But I would recommend definitely additional for this guy just so that he has the chance of proccing that and getting the damage reduction faster. He randomly changes a type of key sphere to rainbow key spheres when there is a planetary destruction or pure sand category ally attacking in the same turn. Now, the reason that this is important, right, is because of the current movie bosses, right, does not have a single rainbow orb changer that is relevant right now, right? The most relevant characters, obviously, Tech BROLY, he's not a rainbow orb changer. Int BROLY, not a rainbow orb changer. Bio BROLY, not a rainbow orb changer. Int BROLY is a type orb changer sometimes. Cellmax, not an orb changer. BROLY, AGL BROLY, not an orb changer. Turles, not an orb changer. BROLY Chain Lemo needs an orb changer. Tech BROLY, not an orb changer. Right? You see what I mean? Like, we go down those. Hurdigarn does not change orbs. This was really needed, especially for characters like BROLY, Chilai, and Lemo, to be able to use them at full capacity. You're now going to be able to actually do that. And also keep in mind that the very first stage or very first phase of the Bulma fight requires you to have rainbow orb changers. So previously, before this Super EZA STR BROLY dropped, you couldn't beat Bulma consistently with the movie boss teams. It just wouldn't happen. You would have to get incredibly lucky with like rainbow orbs at the start, or else you're not beating Bulma. You're not even getting past first phase. But now you have a chance because you have a single rainbow orb changer, which it makes a very big difference. Now, granted, you do need a planetary destruction or pure sand category ally attacking in the same turn. So basically what that means is you're going to want one of like the 5 Brolys and or, I guess, BROLY Challenge them all, right? So any of the Brolys will cover that. Actually, Bio BROLY does not cover that, right? Because he's not on either. Yeah, so Bio BROLY won't contribute to that, but mainly any of the movie 8 or 10 Brolys will be able to take care of that just fine. He also gives key +1 attack +10% for superclass allies. I don't think that matters that much, but okay. He also gives key +1 attack and 20% for extreme class allies per rainbow key sphere obtained. So you're going to want to make sure you're giving him rainbow key spheres to get as much support of that as possible. If you manage to get 5, that is 100% attack and defensive support, which is pretty cool, right? It's very nice to have. He also gets 50% crit and launches an additional super attack for every 2 rainbow key spheres obtained. This is where I can see someone might say that you don't need to give him additional, but that's when I would come back and say, this guy is not a double rainbow orb changer like Mr. Boo. You are not going to be consistently grabbing 4 rainbow key spheres plus with this guy. It's just not going to happen. More than likely, you're probably going to be able to get 2, potentially 3, but I doubt on a team where he's the only one providing orbs, and he's going to be probably in slot 3 or 2, depending on the situation, you're probably not going to be able to get this guy 4 rainbow key spheres every single turn. It's just not going to happen. So what's going to end up happening is you're just going to be able to getting one proc of that, and then if you have like 24, 20 additional in his potential system, there's a very high likelihood that he's going to actually proc that. And even better, if you do manage to get 4 Rainbow Key Spheres, and you're able to get the 2 guaranteed additional super attacks, right? If you have roughly 20 additional in your hidden potential system, the chances of you hitting that 4th super, well, at least procking the chance to get the 4th super, is pretty damn high. And then you'll be able to get this guy almost fully built up in 1 turn instead of potentially having to wait 3 turns. It's a pretty big difference that I'm willing to take that risk for, where I'm going to give him, like mine, I just changed his build up because I just rainbowed him. I actually talked about this earlier. I was holding on to my redstones just in case this guy's Super EZA got announced, and it did, so I bought him, and then I bought a copy of Tech Super 3 Go Tanks, you know, probably the best Super EZAs by far, right? And I rainbowed this guy out, and I gave him, he has 24 additional and as much dodge as I can get him. I want to give him additional and dodge equips, but I just don't have them at the moment. But that's what he has now, and I think he's going to do pretty good with them. But if we go ahead and actually take a look at his super attack effect, because that does not change, do keep in mind that this guy, he does actually give himself 50% attack for 3 turns. So what's going to end up happening is this guy's damage is going to be kind of decent, right? Especially once he gets fully built up. He has this massive attack and defense when he starts attacking. And then if you're able to get a decent amount of Rainbow Key Spheres, he's going to have a bunch of his support active, and he's going to be able to launch multiple guaranteed supers. So he could very quickly build up to really decent damage levels. Obviously not to the levels of like Cellmax or either of the Brolys, right? Or any of the big Broly characters, right? Like Tech LR Broly, both Tech LR Broly. He's not going to get to that high, but I think he's going to get pretty up there. Like he might be tossing out triple like 15 millions, especially once he has a couple of these stacks on. Now, granted, I don't think you're going to be running this guy on main rotation, but he's a nice little fill option. I like him a lot. I think he's good, right? He's something that the team needed desperately in a Rainbow Orb Changer. He has damage reduction. He has multiplicative support, or multiplicative stats when he attacks. He's supporting. Like, he's doing a lot, and I do like that a lot for this guy. So I think he's pretty damn good. What is weird, though, is they didn't tweet out a single sub-EZA yet. Now, I want to make it known that I don't think this celebration is quite over just yet. What's the quickest way to show this off? I guess Super Saiyan, maybe? Because of the fact that we could still potentially see another EZA before the end of this celebration. Remember that LR Goku Black EZA'd on the 3rd of October, right? So what would that be, next week for us? Like, hold on, let me pull up my thing here. Yeah, that'd be next week on Thursday, which would line up with when this guy's Super EZA should drop, which is going to be a problem. Well, considering we have the data or the announcement tonight, the data download should be tomorrow night, and then he'll be in game on the 26th. So I would assume, because again, last year we got an EZA roughly around this time, that we could see another EZA coming for the celebration before it wraps up. Which, if you've heard me say literally anything in my past few videos during the lookbacks, I think, where is he at? He's an LR. I think it's going to be this guy. I think it's going to be him. I think this guy's Super EZA is coming next week. Now, I really hope he comes alongside some sub-EZA characters, because the bad thing about Super EZAs is they don't really give a lot of stones. They get like 5, right? Whereas a regular EZA gives 33. So I do think that this guy has potential to Super EZA next week as well. The only issue with this is that this is going to be the 4th legendary Super Saiyan Broly in the celebration. But I do think he'll be really good if he does Super EZA. Obviously, this Broly is pretty damn solid. The DokkanFest is really good. This guy is nichely usable. He's not like the be-all, end-all, right? But I think he can have his uses if he gets an event that plays to his like strengths, right? So it is nice to have a bunch of different options, especially if you're like me and you haven't pulled the new LR Int Broly, right? It could be nice to have one of these other 3 Brolys kind of fill in that same slot and pair up well with any of the other Brolys. Now, granted, I don't have any of the Brolys from this year, which is really unfortunate, but I think it could be cool. I think it could be interesting. So I do expect this guy's the Super EZA next week, as well as hopefully some sub EZA characters as well. Let me know what you guys think about Super Easy A, Legendary Super Saiyan Broly, the original Dokkan Fest character in the comments down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.